communicating with impact, and more specifically, is that recorded? Hopefully it is. Let's start again. Well, anyway, if you missed the first bit, that first blip of a quick message, this particular message I want to share here with you live on this particular recording is to do with attraction. So I was going through my notes and I was looking at what people have been asking and talking about. So I literally have jumped onto this live, put a few notes together. I thought this is a great image to show you, two people completely engaged. And we're looking at body language here, and we're looking at body language attraction, that connection that we can have with people when we're talking to somebody or talking to a group. And body language and attraction can be either where you are expressing yourself in a way where you are giving out attractive forces and people are attracted to you. Or equally, it could be the body language that you give off that suggests that you're attracted to somebody else. I mean, if you look at these two here, if I just bob down for a minute and look up, you can see very clearly there's some strong connection here. You don't really need to see much more. You don't need to hear them speak. You don't even need to hear the dialogue. And you can tell that there's a strong attraction between these two. Now, that's more of an intimate attraction, but you can have attractive forces in business. You can get people attracted to another person, maybe a customer really attracted to the business, the person, they have an aura about them, they have a persona, they have a charisma. And so communication, if done properly, can create this charismatic aura around you, which draws people in and gives them the ability to feel comfortable with you, to want to be around you. And then, of course, that allows you to steer them and guide them and take the conversation in the direction you want them to go with you, as long as, of course, it's authentic. So when I talk about communication, the whole system that I have, CWI, one of the major components is authenticity. And so if you're going to create this sense of impact with somebody and you want to create attraction, it has to be done from an authentic space. So that's an assumption here as I'm talking to you now. But I want to give you 4 things that I think would be really useful that I've found over the years working with people, either coaching them one-to-one or working in group environments. And we get people actually testing this, and it's quite powerful when they get into this space. 4 things that really work when it comes to body language and attraction. So the first thing is to understand the concept of mirroring or matching. Now, there's a whole mindset and psychology around something called neuro-linguistic programming. These are tools, techniques. These are things that have been around for 30, 40 years, developed originally by Richard Bandler. And when he developed this, basically very quickly created a set of models, systems that anyone can learn. And they observe very quickly that when people are in rapport, when they're connected, when there's an attractive force between them, they typically match and mirror each other. So you may have noticed that when you're really relaxed with somebody, like these two are doing here, the shoulders change. Whatever one person does, the other person tends to do. If I'm in front of an audience, and again, when this was first taught by John Grindler and Richard Bandler, and they would demonstrate this in their audiences, and they would say, everyone stop and freeze. And they would show people, look, you're sat next to each other and you've both got your arms crossed and you're leaning this way. 2 other people might have their legs crossed. Somebody else might be leaning forward like that, and then the person next to them is leaning forward. So the more in harmony, the more in rapport, the more synchronized people are, that attractive energy that's between them, unwittingly, they start to get into a rhythm in the same way that groups of people can get into this matching and mirroring process. So matching is where one person leans forward, you lean forward. Another person leans to one side, you lean to one side. Maybe they put their hands in their pockets and you put your hands in the pockets. Here you can see, she's smiling, he's smiling, and he's just tilted his head slightly forward. Now, in the attractive body language process, if you were looking on a date to see if that person's connected to you, and this is something I do when I'm working with people in terms of wanting to attract new people into their lives. Maybe they're single and they're struggling to do this because they're so in their head they don't read the signs. If she happened to just lean forward slightly and maybe change her eye angle like that, as you can see in the video and the camera shot there, and her smile's already there, by the way. So that's a classic way to match and mirror and to get rapport, is to get that smile, that physiology of the face going. And if she leans forward and does that, then you very quickly get a sense of attractive force, and there's that matching and mirroring. Now, matching is when you basically do what the same other person does. Mirroring is like when you're looking in a mirror. If you lift your right hand in a mirror, you would see an opposite, which would be your left hand. So that's mirroring. So if somebody scratches their nose with their left hand, I'm having to think it through as I'm talking to you, scratches their nose with their left hand, you might be there, and because it's their left hand, that's your right. So you might be talking and you scratch your nose, just slightly like that. But you do it with your right hand. So as they lift their left, you lift your right. They might sigh and just lean over to their right. So if I lean over to my right, that would be your left. So you might sign and you lean over as well. So we find ourselves going in the same direction. That's mirroring. Now, if you do it too much, it can be and feel a little bit manipulative, and that doesn't work. So you've got to do it in a very subtle way. That's why matching sometimes is a bit easier, because you just simply do what they do, whereas mirroring is you do exactly what they do in the same direction as they're doing as well. But it works, and so this attractive force starts to develop when people do it naturally. Eyes, as we can see here, he's really engaged with his eyes, as you can see. And, we can't see her eyes because of her hair, but you get a strong sense that she's looking as well. So attractive forces with eyes is really being present with your eyes and being authentic and allowing that message to come through your heart and through your eyes. Whereas I've actually seen people that, this is in business as well. Remember, attraction can be in business as well. They're trying to meet a new client, but they keep doing this when they're talking to the client. They're looking around instead of just being completely present and looking into the eyes of the person they're talking to. That's not a 1,000-year stare, 1,000-yard stare like this. But just being present, like I'm doing with you now. I'm just looking into the camera and allowing that energy to connect. And it can be just simply, I'm attracted to you as a person, but not in a sexual way. I like being around you. That's another energy around attraction. It's just I like being around you, and I like communicating with you. So you show that with your eyes. That's the second thing. The third thing is breathing. Now, this is really powerful for couples. We can't see them there, but I can almost tell you that if they're really synchronized and connected and the attractive forces are flowing, if she's breathing like this, he'll be breathing in a very similar pattern. If she relaxes and softens her breath, and he was to go into that same breathing pattern, very quickly they get into this attractive, synchronized energy. When somebody's a little bit stressed, and that's why you'll find people are drawn to people that are very rock solid. They're calm, they're steady. So that's why when somebody's stressed and they come searching out for that person that's calm, the calm person's just got this steady breathing. So everything's fine. And you get into a breathing energy with that person, and they then come into your space and they get into a calm breathing energy, and they just want to be around you. That's a form of attraction, rapport. Okay, so breathing, getting into synchronicity with another person's breathing. And then finally, gestures. We've talked about this already with the hand gestures. Eyes one thing, but gestures could be an eyebrow gesture. And if you look here, he's kind of lifted his eyebrows and he's looking forward in a slightly cheeky way, and maybe waiting for an acknowledgement from her, and she might do the same thing and she leans forward. So that's a gesture with a head, a face. Could be with her hands. She just goes like that. Or she might just do that, or she's talking to him and lean forward. Now, he might not do exactly the same thing, but because she's doing that, she's comfortable. Imagine a scene where he just brings his hand up and he does the same thing and he's talking to her. It says, I feel comfortable in your space. I'm coming forward. My gestures are aligned with yours, and I'm connected with you with my eyes. So gestures can be a great way just to soften, create connection, and really magnify that attraction. Have a play with this. Do it authentically and use it in a really constructive way. And I bet you'll find very quickly, if you do this properly, you'll get some really quick results. That's Dr. O signing out. Body language and attraction.